Thank you so much. We may get our seats. This is a pre-summit, a pointer to the main summit that we have in April. So allow me to invite the Deputy Minister of Youth, standing in for Minister of Youth, to come and make a presentation, since this is a youth program. Not saying that those that are not youth are not welcome. My definition of youth is anyone who has a dream for tomorrow and energy. Somebody who is taking drugs, in as much as that person is below 35, is not a youth. A youth is somebody who plants today with the aim of harvesting tomorrow. So if you are here, you are over 35, even if you are 45, you are 55, for as long as you dream about a better tomorrow and you are not taking drugs and you want total ownership of land, you are a youth. So welcome our youth, even our guests of honor. You are a youth as well. Thank you so much. Deputy Minister.
Good afternoon to you all. Allow me to acknowledge our guest of honor, Comrade Shamu, veteran politician, very experienced politician, grew up watching him, and it's a pleasure and honor to share this platform with you, sir. We have learned a lot and we will always continue to learn. And allow me just to say a few words about the importance of land to young people, to the youth. I'm sure that all of you have heard these stories for a long time, especially here in Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe is a unique country that took a decision. It took a decision to reclaim its land back, and we all know what happened as a result of that decision. when people like our guest of honor, people like my parents, people like our forebearers took up arms in the fight against imperialism and colonialism, they had to make big sacrifices. They had to forego being youth. They had to forego many advantages and many things that we maybe even take for granted now, so that they could reclaim the land of Zimbabwe. Now, we are not expecting young people to take up arms against anyone. We are expecting young people to take a stand and to continue the fight for economic emancipation and self-determination. At the crux of the land issue, this is what it's all about. It is about the ability and it is about the power to determine who and what we are in the direction that we decide as a people that we want to go. And in deciding this direction, we are not looking for ourselves as a people, as young people, to discriminate against others. What we are looking for is equitable distribution of land, resources, and opportunities. What we are looking for is a continuation of a struggle that began with our forefathers and our forebearers. What we are looking for is dignified cadres. We are looking for responsible youth who can take up the challenges of today because they are rooted in the achievements of the past. It is important when we talk about land or when we talk about the future of this country to always put it in context. Because without context, you don't find meaning. The context we are talking about here is what emancipation means for us now and what we have to contribute to the world at large. So I don't know about the generation today, but in the generation we grew up in, we were told that Africans didn't contribute anything, that we had to be civilized by others, that we had nothing to offer the world. But that's not true. But even today, some of us still believe in that colonial mindset that we are not worthy or that we didn't contribute. So it is upon us to go and educate our brothers and sisters out there of the power that they hold within themselves, the power that we hold as a collective. And it really requires collective action. Alone, it's not possible. Our counterparts in the West are also making a shift in how they approach the world. They are reducing aid that they give to us. They are reducing investments that they give to us. And that might cause some of us here to panic. It might cause some of us here to think, so what do we do now? I think what is important for young people is not to look for something outside, but to search within. That collectively as Africa, we need to ask ourselves, who can manufacture this? Who can produce this? Who can process this? And you will find that on our own, with our 55 countries, if we act collectively, we can actually bring about a positive change, economic growth, as well as social advancements that we are looking for. I happen to be talking to some colleagues recently who came to visit Zimbabwe, and they were coming from India. And during the conversation I told them, you know, the good thing about Indians is that you take an Indian or any other culture that I was merely assessing ourselves, and you put them in the UK or in Australia or in Belgium or in Canada for 30 years. 30 years later, that person will still be Indian. I can't say the same for our brothers and sisters sometimes as Africans. The moment we go away for 4 or 5 years, we can't even speak our own language anymore. Our cultures become backward. And I think that is a result of colonial trauma. that even within ourselves we doubt ourselves. And it's time that we really educate each other and help each other on the way, so that when one starts something, we have all started something. When one of us gets injured, then all of us have been injured. And this is what we require from young people. We require young people to have a unity, just like our forebears, and even go beyond that. We require young people to go forward with confidence and know that they are competent in what they are doing, know that they are worthy, and that they have a lot to offer the world, they have a lot to offer their communities. And I would like to thank my brother, the newly elected president of the Africa Youth Congress, for giving this platform an opportunity, because that's what it really requires. And as young people, it is an opportunity for us to show what we can do as Africans. And the time is now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Comrade Mpamanga, for the insights and the first-hand experience that you have shared with us. Guest of honor, we are supposed to have remarks from the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, represented by the PEMSEC, Professor Jiri. He's on his way. Oh, he's here. Oh, Professor, allow me to introduce you to the house. We have Professor Jiri, who is here representing the Minister of Lands. But before I introduce you and call you to give your presentation, let me introduce our brother, who is the ZANU PF Politburo Deputy Secretary for Security, Comrade Tendai Chirau. His presence means that we are safe, because he's in charge of security. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Jiri. Thank you.
Thank you. The Director of Ceremonies, I want to recognize you, the newly elected chairperson and the entire committee. I also want to recognize you. I want to start by reading the minister's statement. Then I would want to go on to what the chairperson would have said. Then I will sit down. Is that fair? That's okay? Yes. Yeah, so that I'm clear on what I'm doing. So it is a privilege and a pleasure to be here today. And whether you are joining us physically or virtually, we really appreciate your presence. This hybrid event symbolizes our steadfast commitment to inclusivity, ensuring that every voice is heard in our shared pursuit to equitable land governance and economic empowerment. As we gather here, we find ourselves at a pivotal juncture. The aspirations of Africa's growing youth population, which is now intersecting with the urgent need for land governance and economic emancipation. This summit aims to galvanize youth engagement in land and economic discourse, fostering a generation poised to lead Africa's sustainable development. A key feature in our discussions, I hope, is focused on Zimbabwe's land tenure cycle, land tenure reforms, and the critical role that youth play in driving sustainable development. In this regard, the government of Zimbabwe introduced a new era of land tenure with a view to unlock economic value from our land, to improve land security, and to enhance economic growth. This new era of land tenure will see all beneficiaries of land reform under the 99-year leases, the offer letters, the A2 permits being issued with a bankable, registrable, and transferable document, the title deed. In addition to this, the government has also issued an indefinite moratorium on the issuance of 99-year leases, offer letters, and permits for agricultural land. These reforms are not only transformative for Zimbabwe, but also serve as a model for other African nations seeking to harness land resources for economic development. Land in Africa is more than just an asset. It embodies our cultural heritage, our social identity, our economic potential, yet historical injustices and colonial legacies have led to inequitable distribution of land, impeding the inclusive growth and certainly disadvantaging the growing youth population. The need for reform is urgent as many of our youth face limited access to land and economic opportunities. This event and this organization seeks to address these challenges by highlighting Zimbabwe's progressive land tenure reforms and how they can serve as a beacon to other African nations. We aim to amplify youth voices, ensuring that young Africans are integral to policy dialogues on land reform and economic strategies. We will promote as government sustainable land use practices that balance economic growth with environmental stewardship, fostering economic freedom by equipping youth with the knowledge and the tools to transform land resources to avenues for wealth creation. The summit is designed to achieve several key objectives, which I hope today, during the course of the day, we have talked about and we have really ensured that they've sunk in each and every one of us. Number one, education and empowerment. The summit aims to enhance understanding of land rights, governance frameworks, and economic policies among all of us. Secondly, this summit aims to also facilitate dialogue, creating a collaborative environment for youth to engage policymakers and experts on land and economic issues. Third, this summit aims to highlight best practices, showcasing successful models of youth-led land initiatives and economic ventures across Africa. And I hope on this you have done a thorough job highlighting what Zimbabwe has done. Fourth and last, developing action plans. Together, we can formulate actionable strategies to promote youth participation in land governance and economic activities. This platform concentrates on critical themes: land rights, governance, economic empowerment, sustainable development, technological innovation, policy, and advocacy. And these are things that must be looked at together if we must have a successful land reform program and an empowering land reform program. These areas are essential for fostering more than just a land reform. So, in essence, this summit that we had today is not just an event. It represents a movement towards a brighter, more equitable Zimbabwe and Africa. Together, we can build a future where every citizen has access to land, where every citizen has access to opportunities that the land brings, and where every citizen has a means to thrive based on land. I want to take this moment to say now what the chairman would have said. He would have said that the greatest asset that Zimbabwe has is the land. And until we unlock this asset called land, we will never realize the opportunities that come with it. Zimbabwe has at the moment 23,000 A2 farmers. 12,000 of them have A2, they have 99-year leases. Zimbabwe has more than 240,000 A1 farmers who have offer letters. And if that land is to be unlocked, it had to be done through the issuance of title deeds. So for Zimbabwe, the issuance of title deeds is now in full swing. Everyone that has land, that has an offer letter, that has an A2 permit, that has a 99-year lease, everyone who is on the AUSA leases is eligible to go and get their title deed. So there's no need for application to say, I'm going to apply for my title deed. No. As long as you have an offer letter, you are eligible to go and get your title deed. As long as you have your 99-year lease, you even have a better advantage because your land has already been surveyed. So you can simply walk in there and in 3 days, your title deed would be out, a digital title deed. So all the youth who got offer letters, Comrade Chirau, I know that out of the 700 youths, we've given some. All those can literally go to Makombe now and do their process of just verifying that the offer letter is yours, and you check if there are no disputes. We give you the value of your piece of land. If it's 10 hectares, we know exactly what the 10 hectares. If it's in Manicaland, region 1, it's $1,000 a hectare. If it's in region 5, it's $300 a hectare. Of course, the president, His Excellency, Comrade Cde Mnangagwa, has been so generous to say that if you pay cash, you get 15% discount. He has been so generous that if you are a youth, you must get a discount for being a youth. Because the war veterans also have a discount. Civil servants also have a discount. And so the president has been so generous to say the land must be affordable by the owner who has it. That is the essence. So this program is open now. Of course, we still have that one center which we opened, the one-stop center at Makombe, where people are going now. But the idea is to decentralize to every province, every district. But what we have done is to ensure that initiating that process, the data form, which just lists what you have, the correct names as on your offer letter, the size of your land, where you are, so that we can initiate the process. That data form is available for everyone to fill in, send it via WhatsApp, send it via email to the contacts for the call center, and they will immediately start the process and call you to say, we have received your data form. When do you want to come and sign your agreement? That's how simple it is. Here we can clap hands for the president. Of course, these are not my words, it's the chairman's words. Mine were those complicated ones. Now these ones are simple. Because the president, His Excellency, has made the process so simple that even wherever you are, you can simply send in the data form or send in your offer letter, and the verification process and communication between yourself and the call center begins. And this process is, as I said, underway. Let me conclude by saying that together as African youths, as Zimbabwean youths, we can build a future where every citizen has access to land. And this is what the president wants. Yes, land is a finite resource. It doesn't continue to grow. So not all of us will have land. But the process of redistribution of land continues. So let me end by saying thank you so much, youths, and I recognize the Deputy Minister here present. Thank you so much for your commitment to this dialogue. It is important that we know what we have and where we are going as youths, and how the government is supporting you in every way as youths. Let's keep this dialogue not only about land issues, but let's open it up to all economic empowerment issues. Let's dialogue. That is what we, at least in the Ministry of Agriculture, promise you, to say let's dialogue, so that we can all move together. Let us make this summit a landmark event in our journey towards economic liberation and sustainable development, with Zimbabwe's land tenure reforms serving as a vital example to the continent. I am excited to be leading a part during this time when the president has ushered this critical asset to all of us. I also want to congratulate you for spearheading celebration of this success of our land reform. Let's spread the word that Zimbabwe has done it. The president has done it, has led by example. By the way, he was the first one to pay for his title deed. So thank you so much on behalf of the minister, on behalf of the chairman of the Land Tenure Implementation Committee, and indeed on my own behalf, I thank you.
We can give another round of applause. Thank you so much, Pemsek. There's been a message, a narrative that went before us to say that, especially in Zimbabwe, Zimbabweans are not good farmers. It was a narrative that was put out there, obviously, by those imperialists out there. Because when we took back our land, they needed that land. And they came up with a narrative so as to prevent other countries from taking back land. But they must know that for the past 2 or 3 years, Zimbabwe has been harvesting enough wheat to sustain its citizens. We have made progress, and today Zimbabwe is the largest exporter of blueberries. You will never find this on media. Because Zimbabwe is not a social media country, you will find this on ground. We have done a lot. Because when land reform was done, we were all young. President Mnangagwa said, no, it's not enough if land is in the hands of parents only. We need to give our youths land. And there is a presidential youth land redistribution scheme where every young person in Zimbabwe has a right to occupy 10 hectares of arable land. And this is taking place. I will introduce you to a slogan that I heard when I was in Zambia at Mulungushi University a week ago. The slogan is called VAR. For those who follow soccer, you know VAR is a system that determines whether there was an offense or not, whether it was a score or not. So if I say vision, you say after me vision. If I say action, you say action. And I will say, this is reality, my comrades. So vision, action is equals to reality. We are here because of a vision. And the vision started when our people decided to take arms to fight during the first Chimurenga. The fight was all about taking back our land. Because when land is taken away from you, your pride has been taken away. Your identity has been taken away. Vision. Vision. Let me tell you this. One day, this other gentleman was in the 8th floor, sitting in his office. He was stressed as you are. Somebody came by the door and said, Joshua, your daughter has died in an accident. He jumped through the window. When he was at the level of the 6th floor, he realized that his name was not Joshua. Falling down at the level of the 4th floor, he realized that he didn't have a daughter. At the level of 2nd floor, he realized that he was not even married. Fortunately, there was a truck that was delivering some mattresses there. So he fell on top of that truck. That's how he survived. Be free, be happy, never be stressed. So I said, if I say vision, you say vision. Okay? If I say action, you say action. This is reality, my comrades. Vision. Vision. Action. Action. This is reality, my comrades. Thank you so much, Permanent Secretary. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite our guest of honor, who is representing the ZANU-PF National Political Commissar, Comrade Machacha. Our guest of honor today is a seasoned politician, one man who has never lost elections since 1980. Yes. I must tell you this. Any election that you may think of, maybe if he tries to contest me here, that will be his first election to lose. But I will not give him that chance, because he has an unbroken record of winning elections for himself and for the party, ZANU-PF. He is our member of parliament for Cde West, Cde East constituents. He is also the parliamentary portfolio committee chair on foreign affairs. But today he is here in his capacity as ZANU-PF Central Committee member, ZANU-PF Politburo member, and Deputy National Political Commissar. His name is Comrade Webster Shamu. Just want to say.
Let me begin by thanking the chairperson of the Africa Youth Congress, Comrade Taurai Kandishaya, who has introduced me to you, our distinguished delegates. And indeed, I'm here representing the ZANU-PF National Political Commissar, Comrade George Machacha, and he has asked me to come and present his thoughts on the issue of advancements in Africa, in Africa's land tenure reforms, the role of politics in overcoming land reform challenges. And I will obviously not depart from this paper, because indeed he would like his thoughts to be shared with you, as he does value the interaction that is ongoing now between the youth and Africa and the world at large, as represented by the Africa Youth Congress. Distinguished guests and esteemed members of the Africa Youth Congress, fellow comrades and the vibrant youth of our continent, and all colleagues who are following proceedings virtually. Comrade Machacha has asked me to convey his sincere appreciation, which comes in the form of immense pride and gratitude, having the honor to address this esteemed gathering at the pre-International Youth Summit on Land and Economic Freedom. He says he would like to extend his heartfelt thanks to the Africa Youth Congress for hosting this pivotal event and for their unwavering commitment to empowering the youth of Africa. Your dedication to fostering dialogue and action on issues of land and economic freedom resonates deeply with the aspirations of the people of Zimbabwe. He goes on to say that throughout Africa's history, land has been central to our identity. Land has been central to our culture, and land has been central to our very survival. The advent of colonialism brought about the systematic dispossession of our ancestral lands, leading to profound socio-economic disparities and the erosion of our traditional ways of life. In response to the grave injustice, Africans across the continent at different stages of our history deliberated on the best course of action to take. This introspection and unity of a purpose gave birth to liberation movements which sought not only to reclaim our land, but also to restore our sovereignty and dignity. Distinguished delegates, you take the case of Namibia. In Namibia, the Southwest Africa People's Organization SWAPO was established to fight against the South African occupation and the expropriation of land. In South Africa, we have the ANC. In Botswana, you talk of your BDP. In Mozambique, Frelimo, MPLA in Angola. Similarly, in Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front, ZANU-PF, was formed with the primary objective of addressing the land question, recognizing that genuine independence would not be achieved without the reclamation of our land. Now, these movements, among others, underscored the intrinsic link between land ownership and statehood. Distinguished delegates, upon attaining independence, African nations faced the monumental task of redressing historical land injustices. the legacy of colonial land policies had left vast inequalities that needed urgent attention. Now, in Namibia, for example, the government implemented a land reform process based on 3 strategies: resettlement, loans, and communal land distribution. The Agricultural Land Reform Act of 1995 facilitated the purchase of farms from commercial farmers for allocation to previously disadvantaged people and provided below market loans through the state-owned Agribank of Namibia and parceled communal land for distribution by traditional leaders. In Zimbabwe, the initial post-independence period saw attempts at land redistribution through market-based approaches which proved inadequate in addressing the deep-seated disparities. Recognizing the limitations of this approach, the government enacted the Land Acquisition Act of 1992, empowering the state to compulsorily acquire land for resettlement purposes. This legislative move underscored the commitment to accelerating land redistribution in line with the aspirations of the majority. The fast-track land reform program of the early 2000s was a bold and decisive step towards equitable land distribution. Despite facing international criticism and economic sanctions, this initiative was and still is rooted in the necessity to rectify historical injustices and empower the indigenous population. It demonstrated the intricate interplay between political decisions and socio-economic outcomes, highlighting the indispensable role of political leadership in driving transformative land policies. Now, under the astute leadership of President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe has embarked on a series of pragmatic reforms aimed at consolidating the gains of land redistribution and enhancing agricultural productivity. A land market policy introduced under his administration enables black farmers who acquired land during the early 2000 reforms to obtain title deeds, as has already been stated and underscored by the Permanent Secretary on this same platform. This significant development allows these farmers to use land as collateral. With the formal ownership, farmers can now access credit facilities, fostering investment in agriculture and related sectors. Secondly, you can now transfer ownership. The ability to sell or transfer land introduces flexibility and empowers farmers to make decisions that best suit their circumstances. Distinguished guests, this policy aims to unlock land values, making them bankable and transferable. thereby facilitating access to credit facilities for farmers and lifting many out of poverty. Furthermore, the government's commitment to compensation for both local and foreign white farmers who were affected by the land reform during the early 2000s signifies a step towards reconciliation and economic stability. Finance Minister Mtuli announced that 535 farmers' claims have been approved, with 5,351 sorry, I'll repeat that part so that I don't make mistakes in terms of my numbers. The Finance Minister Mtuli announced that 535 farmers' claims have been approved, with 351.6 million US dollars allocated for local farmers and 196.6 million US dollars for foreign farmers, mostly in treasury bonds. Foreign farmers will also share an initial 20 million US dollars cash payment. These initiatives reflect President Mnangagwa's dedication to refining land policies for the benefit of all Zimbabweans, fostering an environment conducive to economic growth and investment. Zimbabwe's land tenure reforms are poised to unlock unprecedented development by empowering indigenous farmers and stimulating economic growth. Historically, land ownership was concentrated among a few, but recent policy changes aim to rectify this imbalance. In January 2025, His Excellency President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa introduced a policy enabling black farmers who acquired land under the 2000 land reforms to sell their land and use it as collateral for bank loans. This move enhances the land value, facilitating access to credit, and has the potential to lift many out of poverty. The trajectory of Zimbabwe's land reform underscores an incontrovertible truth. Politics is an essential ingredient in addressing land reform challenges. The allocation, ownership, and utilization of land are inherently political matters, influencing and being influenced by power dynamics, governance structures, and ideological orientations. Political leadership provides the vision and direction necessary for transformative land policies. It is through political platforms that the grievances of the landless are articulated, and it is within political institutions that solutions are formulated and implemented. Honorable delegates, the Zimbabwean experience illustrates that without a political commitment and intervention, the quest for equitable land distribution would remain elusive. So as we reflect on the advancements in our land tenure reforms, let us recognize and appreciate the central role that the politics has played in our journey. From the anti-colonial struggles to the present day, political consciousness and action have been the catalysts for reclaiming our land and dignity. And moving forward, it is incumbent upon us to continue leveraging our political institutions and the processes to safeguard the gains we have made and to address the challenges that persist. Let us remain vigilant and proactive, ensuring that our land policies promote inclusivity, productivity, and sustainability. And all this is underscored by ensuring that there is unity amongst the people. And with the steadfast political will, we can be able to continue to overcome the challenges of land reform and pave the way for a prosperous and equitable Zimbabwe. Mr. Chairman of the Africa Youth Congress, that is the paper that has been prepared for us by our national political commissar, Comrade George Machacha, which I had the prerogative of presenting to you. I thank you.
Guest of honor, thank you so much for the speech. We know that when you are talking from experience, because you were there during the liberation struggle, you fought for this country. And that which we are gathered here for is the same reasons why you went to war.